Hey, the book is done, basically. Um, I finished my last chapter on Patreon around April 30th. No, it wasn't April 30th. Around March 31st or April 1st. I think it was probably on April 1st, since I usually got the things done after the day had ended, even though I was trying to go for a March 31st deadline. My the rough draft of my manuscript is now basically done, and you can see it here, although I'm not going to spoil all of it. For instance, Zoom with Zoomers, I've read this on here, the epilogue. I've read this on my channel. There were 18 chapters in all. Maybe I should change that to 2021. I'm dedicating it to Kevin Tajan, the Ultimate Typing Championship competitor from 2010, who later committed suicide. Reckful and Carlo Parisi, the two-time Intersteno mother tongue champion, who died of natural causes a few years ago. My table of contents, these are all the chapters I tried to go for things that I thought were somehow witty. I'm not going to show you all of it now, obviously, but here's the problem. I have been writing this for 4 years, and I have been so comprehensive, and I've cited so many sources and so on, and gone into such elaborate detail that the manuscript is 548 pages, 278,000 words. Now, some of that is an appendix. I have this appendix here of typing records that is about 30 pages or something. I guess it was longer. Okay, just about 30 pages. So, and these aren't even close to all my sources. I still need to shore up all my sources. I need to go through every chapter line by line, and that's going to be tedious. And make sure I've everything that requires a citation, that I've properly cited it. And that in itself could take a couple more months, especially at the pace I'm going in with how many other obsessions I have going on at once. So, yeah, all right. If you look at just the text itself, it is just barely over 500 pages. This is single space too. I think this is 2 or 3 times longer than what a conventional publisher would want for the book, because I've been looking at that, and it seems like for your average standard nonfiction book, what publishers are looking for is about 80,000 words. This is a history, and histories and biographies. This is also a biography. I write 3 chapters in the middle about myself, and I've read some of that on my channel. For a history or biography, publishers will accept up to 120,000 words. This is still more than 2 times that. I might have 2 books here. Maybe this should be split into 2 books. I don't know. One about the classic typists of the 19th and 20th centuries before the internet age, and one about the modern internet scene. Maybe I should split this into 2 books. I don't know. I also don't know. The thing is, I do reference a lot of the modern stuff in the chapters about the old typists. Like I compare how I type to how Albert Tangora from the 30s typed and all. And I also talk about some of the classic typists in the chapters about myself and later. So I talk about both parts of the book in the other side, so separating them might not be so easy. I have not decided whether I want to self-publish the book Probably via the sociopathic rainforest that is Amazon, or whether I want to try and publish this commercially. Initially, I was thinking I wanted to publish it commercially because I think there might be interest. I'm crossing so many genres with this. I was very ambitious. Because this is a history, and it's a memoir, and it's a little bit of a social commentary, and it's a little bit of an instructional guide, it has all of those elements to it all at once. And that means that I could have the potential of attracting a bunch of different audiences, except that I know that we're in a culture of TL semicolon DR, where people are probably looking for things that are only like 100 pages at most, double spaced or whatever, because I know people have so many distractions and so many things they feel that they need to keep abreast of, and this would probably be too long for anything but a hardcore audience. I do think there is a hardcore audience. I know there have already been successful books in the modern competitive typing scene. Jash's book, for instance. I'm not sure whether I want to do this commercially or just selling it on Amazon or something, which does not thrill me. I mean, I know how garbage their business practices are and stuff. The thing is, I know this is too long for a conventional publisher. I know what conventional publishers are looking for now is how big your platform is. And I don't know how big my platform is. I mean, I just passed 5,000 subscribers for the first time a few weeks ago, and I was thinking about doing this video right when I did that. Yeah, oh yeah, and I just did Intersteno. That was a fiasco, but 5,050 subscribers. Oh, that's all the numbers from 1 to 100 added up together. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have been showing this, but because it has how much I'm making, you can see that that's not much. Probably you'd have to have about, I don't know, 100 or 200,000 followers to really be doing well just from AdSense or whatever, and not from Patreon. But my platform, I don't know how big my platform is, because while that's not a large number of subscribers, it is larger than the vast majority of people who have YouTube accounts. I mean, billions of people have YouTube accounts. That's probably over the 99th percentile. But it's still pretty small when it comes to like how many people could buy something, and especially conventional publishers don't want to take risks on unknown authors. I know that. And especially not how long this is. I mean, maybe I could get away with it if it was a fantasy work, because it seems like, for the most part, people will not buy books as long as this unless they're fantasy, maybe. And I mean, even the first Harry Potter book wasn't as long as this. I'm not sure if any of the Lord of the Rings books were as long as this. All of them put together, I'm sure, were longer, but so I might be forced to self-publishing. The thing is, I know that I need editing. I almost certainly need editing as long as this is. I want editing, but for me to hire a professional editor from one of those sites, there are lots of sites where you can find professional editors. I think I'm having one of them Reedsy or something, Reedsy. I think I'm having them send me emails. I haven't really looked at that too much, but they have people on there, connections on there for people looking for editors or people to design covers or people to design the layout of your book, which is important if you're going to include pictures. I don't think I'm going to include pictures, mainly because of how long this is already. I was initially thinking I wanted to have various pictures of typewriters and or typists in the middle of the book. Like, if you've ever seen a World Almanac, I'm not sure how popular they are anymore. They were popular in the 80s and 90s. I loved them before the internet really took off. They had, like, graphic insets where they had pictures of countries' flags and insets of atlases where they had pictures of all the continents and their major cities and stuff. And there are a lot of professional nonfiction books that have sets of that have a booklet of pictures inside the middle of the book. And I was thinking about doing that, but this is already too long, and it's already going to be too expensive. And adding pictures obviously would make it substantially more expensive. So I think I'm probably not going to have pictures. I also looked at the 3 books that mainly influenced mine. Word Freak by Stefan Fatsis. Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua Four about trivia competitions. Word Freak was obviously about Scrabble competitions. And Ken Jennings' Brainiac about trivia competitions. Those are the books I took major inspiration from stylistically. Not that I ripped them off or anything, but it was the style. It was the style that I wanted to emulate. I wanted my book to be entertaining. I didn't want it to just be a boring humdrum list of facts and stats that would honestly bore a casual audience. I wanted this to be possibly accessible to a casual audience. Writing about the typing culture in the same way those books wrote about Scrabble, trivia, and memory competitions. And I think I did a good job of that, except that those books are all much shorter and tighter. They also had professional editing, though. I don't know. Maybe those manuscripts were all really long too until their editors trimmed it down and got only the good stuff. I want to have editing like that, but obviously I am not as famous as Ken Jennings, who won millions of dollars on Jeopardy and became a household name. And as for the other 2, Joshua Four won the United States Memory Championship in 2006. I can look him up. And he already had a major platform. I mean his brother Jonathan Safran Foer wrote a very famous fiction book from 15 years ago that became a critically successful movie. Everything is Illuminated. I could not get through that book because it had a stylized dialogue that I had trouble reading. I tried, but I couldn't get through it. But I really love Moonwalking with Einstein. But obviously, because his brother was extremely famous in the literary community, he had an easy in, and that helped get him published. And obviously, Stefan Fatsis was already a sports reporter, I think, for the Washington Post. So those 3 authors all had connections in a way I really did not. But I do have some fame because the Ultimate Typing Championship video from 2010 got 15 million views and the other one got 5 million views. Even though Jack passed me last year clearly as the fastest typist, and if Josh hasn't passed me yet for second, he is going to, probably in the matter of days or weeks or whatever. But probably neither Jack or Josh will ever be as famous as me simply because of whatever cultural zeitgeist I happen to catch and what the wave I happen to ride. I kind of envy Jack and Josh because now the typing competitions have bigger cash prizes and they get to remain more anonymous and only really known to typists, while I got known as one of those, hey, it's that guy, along with all the other various and sundry memes of the world. Jack and Josh managed to avoid being memed, and I kind of envy that. But still, I think I might be famous enough that some publishers might be interested in this, especially because I do talk about a lot of trends that are rather current. Like, in my book, I talk about the racism that Cortez Peters faced and how the Underwood Typewriter Company refused to hire him even though he was as fast and at times faster than most of the other typists they had representing them. That's obviously a very timely issue with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter stuff. And the history of typing also was linked to women's rights and a lot of other important historical movements. The Gilded Age, which we seem to be kind of replicating now, repeating in a lot of ways. A lot of stuff about today's culture is really reminiscent of the 1890s or the 1920s. We seem to be reliving either of those decades in a lot of ways. So I think a lot of the stuff in the first half of the book about the history of typing and how it tied into the culture as a whole, and I try to do that with the current typing scene as well. Like, one of the things that's really been interesting me lately is the contrast between like how big typing is as an online popular pursuit, and I'm always astounded by how big it is. Like, these sites are getting really big, yet typing as a commercial industry is dying. Where's that thing from the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Fastest declining occupations, I believe it was. Look at this. The number one occupation that is expected to decline the most between 2019 and 2029, word processors and typists, projected to decline 36%, probably due to voice recognition software or things like that. And you look, almost everything related is set to decline significantly in the coming decade. Data entry keyers down 25%, legal secretaries down 22%, executive secretaries down 20%. Desktop publishers, that's sort of connected, 19%. Basically everything involving typing will not get you hired for jobs. I remember Taryn and I were sort of commiserating over this a few months ago, maybe it was a year ago, but he kept telling me how his mom was telling him, you should try to seek out typing jobs, and he was like, LOL, there aren't any. And I mean, yeah, I've been there, done that. I like 10 years ago when I was really unemployed, at about the height of my typing fame, when I was really breaking out in 2011 or 2012, and the typing scene was, for a while, largely just me. Um, which is so weird to say, but not exactly incorrect. I applied to be a typist 1 or a typist 2, I don't remember which it was, but I applied for a bunch of typist civil service positions when I was living in Ithaca and after I moved to Syracuse. I moved to Syracuse in 2011, about a year after the Ultimate Typing Championship. I moved back to my hometown in Syracuse. But I applied for civil service typing positions in Ithaca and Syracuse, never got anything. I think it was just because I was too socially inept, too autistic, too weird looking or whatever. Did not handle the interviews right. I those jobs also required, most typing jobs require phone skills and stuff, and I mean, I probably would have been more likely to get a typing job if I had half the typing speed and twice the social skills. Not that social skills are quantifiable, thank God. In fact, the people who would try to quantify such a thing as social skills are the kind of people who likely wouldn't have any. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to laugh at your own jokes. But one of the things that interested me culturally is how typing is really, really big as a competitive pursuit, but not so much in terms of actually getting a job. So we have a large mass of gamers who are really into this, and there doesn't seem to be a way to make any money from it because people don't want to watch it. I mean, yes, there are starting to be some big prizes. Czech won $5,000 last year. I don't think there are ever going to be typing prizes big enough where somebody can make a living wage, even though Austin Wiersky once made twice made $50,000 texting. Facebook loads too slow, never mind. Chicago Tribune, that'll load faster. Won $50,000 2 years in a row and paid for his entire college almost. While I was like flat out broke and I used my money for my typing contest to declare bankruptcy. I'm kind of bitter about that because I think most people would think that typing is a more useful skill than texting. I guess it's not. People probably do text more, so maybe texting is more important now. I feel like an old man. 10 Fast Fingers is the 4,221st most popular site on the internet, supposedly. Type Racer is, I think, in the top 10,000 now. 10,149 just fell out. Type Racer and NitroType usually alternate, which is bigger. I'm not sure which it is now. NitroType's fallen a bit to 13,474. Monkey Type's almost caught it, I think. $15,536. But this is pretty big time. Because if you look at things that seem like huge in the mainstream media world, like the Fox television network, below 30,000. NASCAR, where the drivers make millions of dollars, 13,971. So, as many people go to the competitive typing sites as go to the official site for NASCAR, but no typist is making millions of dollars because people are entertained by watching NASCAR, and I am too. I've been a racing fan for decades, but nobody is entertained at watching typing, I guess, the way they are watching other video games, because video games are flashier. So we have this odd situation where it's hugely popular, but it's also this niche thing that people outside the niche just don't care about, really. So nobody could actually make a living from it, and it's also becoming a very unimportant career skill. It's this weird contrast, and I wrote a chapter largely about that. So yeah, with my book, I tried to capture the culture, the cultural zeitgeist around typing, and how it fit into the important cultural trends at the time. And I think I did a good job of that, but I'm not sure how much typists are really going to want. The typists are probably just going to want my typing advice, and I do have a couple chapters of that at the end. I'd like to find some beta readers who are experienced reading lots of serious books to try and give me some idea what the good stuff is and what the bad stuff is. I know some of what I've written is bad. I'm just not sure which parts. I'm having my mom read my manuscript right now, and I also sent it to Michael DeRoche. But if there are some really experienced readers who are watching me, I might like to try a couple people out who have read really broadly. Like, there are a lot of people who've read way more broadly than I have. I'm not a very good reader of books, although I'm better than I used to be. I'm getting into nonfiction some now. I'm a bad fiction reader, so that probably means I'm a bad prose stylist. Although from the books I've gotten, I have picked up some prose style, at least the pattern, how it goes, how it should be structured. I think I'm not too bad there. But if there are some really experienced readers who might like to beta read my manuscript, I'd be interested in that. I'm not going to obviously have everybody who wants to read this for free. I'm not going to let every single person see it, but if there are some people who are really, really experienced, I might, with reading like hundreds or thousands of books, and I'm sure there are some, I'd be interested in having them check this out. Okay. I did Intersteno again, and I recorded myself doing a bunch of Intersteno videos like I did the other 2 years I did this. I won the Mother Tongue contest. It's not over yet. The contest doesn't end until May 12th. Well, it is May 12th, but it doesn't end until the end of May 12th, which means probably about, it's like 12:30 in the morning on May 12th, Eastern Time. Since I figure it'll probably end at midnight UTC, that means 7 p.m. today, the Intersteno contest will end. All the heavy hitters have already finished. The two people I was worried about beating me, Chalal Vaskin and Jonas Vala, did not beat me, so I know I won Mother Tongue. I will put up my Intersteno videos, which I have already recorded, when the contest ends, probably over the next couple weeks or so. I'll probably space them out so there are a couple days between each one, but man, it was not fun this year. I finished in 16th place because notice this. Intersteno this year was a nightmare because I kept closing out of the window. There is a hotkey on Google Chrome that I didn't know about. That one, Control W. It closes out of a window, and I did not know that existed. I keep forgetting it exists, even though I think I've closed windows several times by pressing things by accident. For instance, my German score did not register, because when I was supposed to type a W, I typed a Control W instead. I think there was some key with an umlaut afterward that would have required me to type Control, because I had set it on auto hotkey to do like Control E to type an E with an umlaut. I probably had a W Control E and I hit Control W instead and closed out of the window. I tried to log back into it by doing Control Shift T, which opens the previous tab that you had opened once I got back into it. And then it did show me all my text. I got to see all the text I had previously typed, but it had changed the language to Italian somehow. So that meant I ended up losing my Italian score too. I decided I wanted to do was I wanted to wait out the clock until it had been however many minutes it had been. When I bailed myself out of typing the German text, but apparently I forgot that after a certain number of seconds of inactivity, Intersteno just closes you out and accepts whatever score you had, and so that ended up being my score 24 with 499 errors. Obviously, I did not make 499 errors. Look at my error counts and everything else, but. Or I guess it was 241 characters. What that means is I had 241 of the characters from the German text correct in Italian, which I think is what that means. But there were 499 errors in that, so I ended up scoring 0 points, obviously. You can tell that's a glitch, but it meant I couldn't type Italian either. And then tonight I failed at typing 2 more things. I closed out of the Portuguese text because there was or maybe it was, oh yeah, Portuguese and Slovak. One of those I ended up typing Control W again, and the other one there was some character. I think it was Slovak. I typed Control W again. There was a Control E, and I typed Control W because the W and the E are right next to each other. I just made a typo, and it closed the window, and I lost my Slovak score. And then for Portuguese, there was a character, the O with the hat on it, and I didn't have it. Portuguese characters. Keep missing typing. Portuguese. Yeah, there was this O with the circular accent, and I forgot to include it, and then it came up. So I was looking for the alt code, and then I know you can type foreign language characters. Like, I know what a lot of them are. I know the A with the acute accent is Alt 160, and to get the I, it's 161. The O, it's 162, and it's corrected that to something. The U is 163, and the E is 130. I know all those. So I could type those just using the numeric keypad like this. But when I tried to, like, figure out what the O with the hat was by trying all the various numeric keypads, it just kicked me out. Because apparently the number lock was on, and so I did like Alt 4, and then it took me, yeah, I mean, in the ASCII character set, Alt 4 is a diamond, Alt 3, 4, 5, 6 are hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. That's how you type those characters. Alt 3 through 6. But it's 3 through 6 on the numeric keypad. I used to have all those memorized. I still have a lot of them memorized from my childhood. But when I tried to find the alt code for the O with the hat on it, apparently I hit the Alt 4, and it took me back a page, and then that canceled me out, and so I lost that score as well. So I ended up losing 4 different scores, which caused me to finish 16th on multilingual, which is embarrassing. I mean, this has happened to me in the past. In 2013, I had a French score that didn't count because I bailed out of the text accidentally, although I think that might have been due to inactivity or something. I still had a score that time. But once I got kicked out of those languages, I wasn't able to do them again. Now, last year, the same thing happened to me in Italian. If you go through those old Intersteno videos I made last year, you'll notice that I typed it in Italian twice because I got booted from the Italian text, and Intersteno let me retype it. And I greatly appreciate that and thank them for it. I would not have been able to win the multilingual contest if they had not allowed me to retype Italian. I basically kind of consider that a makeup for when they disqualified me for posting a video on here before the contest ended. I was really annoyed when that happened back in 2017. But after they let me retake the Italian test last year, which allowed me to win multilingual, I think that makes it even in my mind. But I'm not going to ask for them to do that again. That was unreasonable for me to ask for them to do last year. And there's only one day left anyway. I'm going to accept my score this year. Besides, I knew that I didn't have a chance of winning this time because this year they're allowing people to type to choose 16 of 17 languages, which means you can choose to type either Japanese or Russian, but you don't have to type both. Let's see, where did that say that in here? We have managed to have a text in Japanese, so we invite Japanese typists to compete in their mother language. Unfortunately, we are not able to offer you the Latin version of the text. Now, a lot of places, including on the famous Japanese typing site Typewell, they allow Japanese typists to type using English language characters. It's called Romaji, or for Roman characters. They don't allow Romaji for Intersteno, so I would have to actually learn the Japanese characters in order to type that, or I would have to learn the Cyrillic alphabet to type in Russian, and I still haven't done any of those. I know there's probably no excuse because almost all the other major Intersteno contenders have taught themselves to type Russian, so they were allowing the best 16 of 17 languages, but I still only type 15 languages, and Takayuki Nakayama does type all 16 languages, and he's good enough at all of them that I would not have beaten him. Guessing at what my scores would have been in the languages that I've ended up getting booted from, I actually think Andrea would have beaten me for second place. I mean, he is considered the best foreign language typist by a lot of people. I could see him winning my Typee award, and I'll get to that. I know that Andrea has been dominating. Andrea has been dominating at typing zone for a few years. He won the 2019 and 2020 Master Championships, and he's leading the 2021 one. He might be the best international typist in the world. If you actually look at these scores really carefully, you'll see that Takayuki Nakayama scored 4,507 points in Japanese, and he only won by, let's see, that's 3,973 points. Yes, I did that in my head just now. So, if it had been best 15 languages and nobody was forced to type in Japanese or Russian, Andrea would have won this. So yeah, he is really moving up fast. And I know that, like, how many languages is he leading in 10 fast fingers in? It's a lot. No, I'm not competing. I just want to View the forum post. I think Andrea's leading in the most languages, right? Maybe not. Oh no, it's Galevion. Andrea is only in 4 languages. Only 4, I know. Both Italian and Romanian. Do I have anything left? I'm still leading English Advanced. Actually, no, I'm not. Didn't Raptor break that and then he deleted his account, so then it reverted back to me. I think that's what happened. So yeah, Intersteno was not a fun experience this year. I am still going to upload those videos. There's probably still good stuff in them. And this year on the videos, I did not record my face, or I did not record my fingers on the keyboard. I instead just had people see the screen, although you can still hear the typing. I decided to do that because I noticed that all my Intersteno videos last year, I had the screen showing the monitor covering up what I was actually typing, and I know that would be hard to read or whatever, and I figure it would be better if you could just see what I was typing rather than seeing my fingers, since my fingers were covering it up. So I just hid that screen for these. I don't think I really want to do Intersteno again, and I'm getting really burnt out at that. Typing competitions in general. I've been depressed for a long time, like since before I was even doing typing competitions, probably back to 2000 or whatever. I was diagnosed with depression with anxiety features along with Asperger's the same day back in 2014. I think that was also the same weekend I went to the Scrabble tournament in Poughkeepsie. Also the same weekend I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. Those were all within a few days of each other, I think. Also my birthday weekend. It was weird. But yeah. I am probably going to get to 22,222 races on my main account on Typewrite. So, I mean, you know how I love the round numbers, how I love to do 50 races a day. I'm on something really awkward here, 21,268. I want to get that up to 22,222, I think, at some point, and stop. I don't want to compete anymore. I think I'm just about retired. I do want to pivot into making more videos. I enjoy creating content more than I enjoy typing. Typing to me is just a waste of time, especially now that I'm not on top anymore. I realize a lot of the other people who are as good as I am, like your Joshes and your Checks and your Izanagis and Izzy, they do enjoy it in a way I don't, but it's been draining me for years. For a long time I said that if I ever got up to, like 5 or 6 years ago even, I think I was saying, if I was only like the 25th best typist on TypeRacer, I would have done like a couple hundred races and then I would have been gone. There were people like that, like Jordan Woodruff, who was really good in his day. He was actually top 5 in his day back in 2009 or so. Won a couple of Typing Zone Masters. I think he might have even been like the fastest average for a month. No, not quite. Daniel Chen, the 2008 and 2009 Intersteno multilingual winner, who was also second to me in the Ultimate Typing Championship. He was faster. But yeah, Jordan was one of the fastest back in his day. Now he'd probably be, well, alright, Jelani is like 25th now, so Jordan would probably be like 50th. But if I was like at that level, I would have stopped a long time ago. And now that it seems like I'm a couple years away from being at that level, it seems like about 20 teenagers are probably going to overtake me in the next couple of years. And that's fine. I had a very, very long run at this. I was basically the dominant typist for the entire 2010s, and then decade-long longevity is insane considering Jelani Nelson was on top for about a year, Dan Chen was on top for about a year, Eric Chung was on top for maybe 5 or 6 years prior to that. He had a really long run too, but there were hardly any people doing it back when he was big. And yeah, I talked about all these people in my book, by the way. I had nice long write-ups about all of them. Dan Chen I was unable to find. He's like completely disappeared, but and hasn't done a typing game at all and since 2010. It was just a passing fad for him when he was in college before he started working. But um, I was able to find a lot of information from him, some of his Harvard Crimson articles and stuff, and I mentioned that in the book. Dan Chen taught me how to type foreign languages on Intersteno, by the way, so I do have some residual fondness for him. So yeah, I'm kind of moving on from competition. I don't if there is a I know there's supposed to be another Ultimate Typing Championship this year. I don't think I really want to do it. Um, I could probably win second place if I wanted to, but I imagine Josh would probably beat me anyway because he is improving at a rapid clip. I'll go look at his non-quit. Geez, 192 average, over 75 rate. I mean, I'm sure I've probably done that several times, but I haven't had an ascent like this in the matter of 4 months. Oh, and it's 3 months later. He might be averaging 200 now. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to the Typee nominations. I'm sorry, I meant to do this like months ago, but you guys left me such a mess to deal with, and it was not fun. People did not understand my instructions for this at all. I instructed people, do not nominate anyone who has already been nominated by the Typee Awards panelists. I listed everybody who was nominated here because I wanted people to nominate people who were not on this list. I nominated Czech. Other people nominated Raptor and me for Typist of the Year. So, what I meant by this is I wanted people to nominate 2 people who were not on this list for each category. And people did not do that. People just assumed that these were the that the nominees here, these were the 3 choices for each category. So people just selected these names predominantly, and few people wrote in responses. I was looking for written in responses that were not on those lists, and most people just voted for people who were on the list. My initial intent for this was I wanted to do 2 rounds of this. So I was going to have people do fan voting twice. I was going to people have fan voting to select the last 2 nominees for each of these categories. I wanted to be like the Oscars, where almost all the categories have 5 names in them. And that did not turn out well because people just kept renominating the people who were already nominated. I was going to have the fans vote again, along with all my panelists. I was going to give each panelist 1 vote and the fans 2 votes. To decide who the nominee is for each category. But since people just ended up voting for the nominees who were listed here anyway, as you will see here, like Czech got 25 votes, Raptor got 6, or Czech got 33 votes. I got 2. I ended up just treating this. When people did write in other selections that were not listed, for example, Amaranth, I counted it, but I'm not going to have the fans vote again. I'm just going to accept who won these votes between the already nominated people, or all the people. I'm just going to accept that as a nominee that the fans selected for each category. So checks for typist of the year and so on. I did tally down everything somebody picked, and people picked stupid things like your mom. Okay, whatever. But yeah, people did not understand what they were supposed to do here, and so I'm just going to take the top two responses that were most picked from the write-in votes that were not previously nominated and add them to the nomination ballot, and I'm going to accept that the fan vote will be whoever got the most votes in the category. I'm just going to count this ballot for both. But this was such a mess, I did not want to deal with it for months, even though I promised to, and I know I promised to. And I'm going to try and get that done in this video as well. I know this is a very dense video, I'm trying to do a whole lot in a long time when I really should be, in a short time when I really should be going to bed. But anyway, here we go. I simply edited the PowerPoint presentation I had before to add the new nominees. Typees and then Typees 2. Oh yeah, this is going to run slowly because it's a slideshow plus the OBS thing running in the background plus the browser. Let me close out of other stuff. Okay, here we go. Typee Award fan nominations. Let me turn the volume down. That's probably too loud. And also my mom is asleep and I don't want to wake her up. Typist of the Year. In addition to Czech, myself, and Raptor, the fans nominated Amaranth and Josh, and Matchai decided to troll the fan voting by nominating himself in every category 3 times. I am going to list it here since he even nominated himself for categories that were not looking for people. And since most people misunderstood the instructions and voted for the same nominees who were already listed over and over again, there weren't many write-in votes, so Mechai's 3 votes for himself in every category ended up getting him nominated for almost everything. I'm just going to list him here, but ignore that on the future slides. I nominated Josh. My other panelists nominated Amaranth and Conspire, and the fans nominated Gold Jet. I'm disappointed Adamski wasn't nominated for this. I almost nominated him, but in retrospect, I made the right choice. Although there was a debate between Josh and Amaranth at the time, I guess there isn't now. Although I want to remind people, I want to remind my panelists when we do vote on this, that this is for 2020. And Josh in 2020 wasn't quite as elite as Josh in 2021 is. This was still intended for 2020. I wanted to get this out by Christmas, and then I just ended up dawdling on it because I was focusing on an auto racing project instead. Burst Typist of the Year, the fans also nominated Taryn. Endurance Typist of the Year, the fans nominated Josh and Keegan. Grinder of the Year, the fans nominated Josh, who held the 1-hour monkey type record for a while, and Czech. International Typist of the Year, they nominated me. Website of the Year, 10 Fast Fingers, Nitro Type, and Type-A-Nation all got nominated. Best New Site, Typination, and Word Practice got nominated. I had never heard of Word Practice. And oh yeah, the guy who made Typination contacted me on Discord many months ago, wanting me to visit the site and put up a video for it. I will probably do that after the panelist voting is complete, whenever that will be. And I'll give my panelists a couple weeks. I'll see if they've all finished in a week or something, or if all the nominees have been clinched. Discord of the Year. Come on, dude. 10 Fast Fingers also got nominated. Moderator of the Year, Karen, aka Josasim, got added. Commentator of the Year. This one's really disappointing. Seriously, I looked at the ballots and nobody at all nominated speed typing. That's a mistake, guys. He deserved to be nominated. And I honestly feel I deserve to be nominated. I would have liked this to be a tie between Jash, speed typing, and me. Although I realize most of my commentary was in my book, which most people haven't seen yet, so that's probably why I was ignored here, while Jash's book was more public, and that's why he was nominated, so that's fine. Storyline of the Year. God, this was a mess. Michael Trayvon Heckman, okay, I understand that one. Josh Yu's story, I guess. I mean, he improved a lot, that's his story. My Life Story, I have no idea who wrote that. Titanium Tendons deleting videos, that's a good one, but not something I would have chosen. John's YouTube channel, that's an obvious choice. All I know is Sean tells some good stories. Thanks, whoever that was. Meme of the Year. I mean, I haven't been keeping track of the Discord. I haven't been reading them as much as I did in 2017 or 2019 especially. I don't know what most of this is. Summer 2020, Machai and Terran. Azathoth 1, Penguin Typer. I know Penguin Typer is a major uploader of videos, but I'm not sure what the meme is. Chef John is obviously something from his channel. I admit I haven't watched most of his videos yet. I will probably get around to it once I finish with this Typee stuff. No, this is John's Nitro Type Funnies number 87 video. Yes, he was I did watch that. He was obviously playing to get memed on that one and see if he could get a viral video out of that. There might be some potential in something like that. I can see it. An egg type, I know that's some inside joke I don't get. People did come up with some good creative stuff there, I guess. Best quote on a typing site. Long bones such as the bones in your arms and legs, short bones such as the bones in your hands, feet, and spine. I guess that's something from Nitro Type. I haven't been on there in years, so I might never have typed it, but I know people reference it a lot. The legendary Tom Bombadil quote. I know Karen added a ton of Lord of the Rings quotes on Type Racer, and I did so myself. I added 25 Lord of the Rings quotes and 25 Harry Potter quotes, or enough to make it 25 of each. Because I assumed that people wouldn't add more, but they still added more, so I shouldn't have done that. I don't know which Tom Bombadil quote this is referring to. There are probably several. Is this really a quote somewhere? Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants, and the cool thing about these guys is that they have really, really, really long trunks, and that's cool, and that's pretty much all there is to say. I'd be more inclined to vote for that for worst quote, although I find it mildly funny enough that I guess I can see why somebody would nominate that. I am the state. Yeah, I think one of the Louis in France said that. Je suis d'État. I don't remember whether it was Louis XIV or Louis XVI, but I think one of them said that. And I guess that was translating it into English. Seriously, power, 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 10 times. I know that's the fastest word, but I don't consider that a quote. And just because it's the fastest word doesn't necessarily mean it's the fastest repeating it over and over. I'd imagine you'd get slower repeating the same word over and over. Maybe not. 'Twas the night before Christmas with all the funky lettering. I guess I can see why somebody would like it. I find it mildly annoying, although it's interesting to type it. And I do better the harder things get, obviously. Worst quote on a typing site. I set my ATM card's number to 00101 because I'm number one. Okay, I'm not going to argue that. That one does suck. The Patchy quote. I don't know what that is. Ligma nuts. I don't know what that is either. The legendary Tom Bombadil quote for both. 'Twas the night before Christmas for worse. Yeah, that's closer to what I would say. Somebody just submitted the alphabet with spaces in between. I wouldn't say that's bad, just kind of boring. And somebody also submitted the alphabet spelled backwards. I don't know. And some Robert Louis Stevenson quote that I don't think is actually on Typeracer. The first merit which attracts in the pages of a good writer or the talk of a brilliant conversationalist is the apt choice and contrast of the words employed. It is indeed a strange art to take these blocks rudely conceived for the purpose of the market or the bar, and by tact of application touch them to the finest meanings and distinctions. That doesn't seem bad, but whatever. Easiest quote on a typing site. Oh, I forgot to write fans nominees here, but obviously, yes, he keeps nominating himself even in these categories. Longboards, use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. That's a correct answer. I Am the State, which I think did just get added to Typeracer. I haven't been on Typeracer in months, but I think that did just get added. It's important enough historically that I get it, although I think it's too short and easy to be on there, probably, even relative to the Friends quote. And power 10 times. Well, that is really easy. I'm not sure I'd call it a quote, though. Hardest quote on a typing site. 'Twas the night before Christmas, absolutely. JavaScript with the really long number at the end. Yeah, I understand that one. G180? Is that a quote somewhere? I don't get it. And I forgot to put fans nominees here, obviously. Oh wait, 'Twas the night before Christmas for the panelist nominees. These were the fan nominees, sorry. Yeah, I forgot to write the fans nominees here when I edited the slideshow. And then the Robert Louis Stevenson quote again. That's not hard to type. Maybe slightly with words like conversationalist, just because it's so long. But I don't think that would be a hard word to type, really. Best username. Machai submitted both of his usernames. Somebody put a question mark. Somebody put John, just John, not no this is John or anything. Keegan T, Myodek, Sharp Shade. At least that's a funny one. Your mom isn't a username, but people submitted Joe, a comma, just comma, me, our, whatever that is, your mom, and the letter E. People submitted that to this category, every category, but they were submitted to just but most of the categories, the nominees had like more than one nomination. These all just had one nomination, I think. So there ended up being a tie for all sorts of things. Bread Lawless, okay, that's probably a creative one. I don't know, bye. That might actually be the funniest thing that was submitted. Joshua Big Pooh, yeah, I expected that. Louisville Cactus, that's good. Me, mine. Yeah, well, I don't know who you are, so if I don't know who you are, I can't nominate your username. Pasta Shapes, Poop and Fart. Is there really a username Poop and Fart? And yeah, people like the scatological too much. And Mom found the poop sock is probably better than Joshu Big Poo or Poop and Fart. Well, I expected Joshu Big Poo, obviously, because Josh has become such a major presence. But yeah, a lot of these nominees were kind of lame and disappointing, but that's what you get with the internet and meme culture. I got what I was asking for, I guess, but there is a nice diversity of nominees, and I'm going to vote for my selections. I'm not necessarily going to select what I nominate in every category. I may change my mind on some of them, but I'm going to make my selections from these categories. I'm going to have each of my panelists from before make a nomination, and I'm going to give me and each of my panelists one vote each, and then the fan nominee that got voted for the most, which will usually be one of the nominees that was already nominated by one of the other panelists, I will give 2 votes for that. And all right, that was a lot, but I wanted to get to all of that. My book, Intersteno, and the Typee Awards nominations, because that was all stuff that people have been asking me about for quite some time. And I'm going to have those Intersteno videos up probably at some point over the next couple weeks. And after that, I think I'm going to do a Type Nation video, and I'm going to do the Typee Awards video, and then I'm going to move on to some stuff that interests me much more than any of this. I'm probably going to, at that point, move on to instructional videos, typing historical videos, and I want to do some videos about millennial culture, and some of those will probably get into social commentary, which is a dangerous, dangerous ground to walk on. But I don't know. The video I made after Reckful's death was kind of well received, and I do think I want to do more stuff like that. I kind of feel like I'm going through a midlife crisis. I just turned 36 in March, and that means half my life ago, basically, I graduated from high school, and that's causing me to reflect on the many, many things that have changed in my life and in the culture since I graduated. And I don't know, it's where my head is at right now. And I also, lately I've been spending so much, and I mean so much time, doing auto racing statistics. That's the main thing that's causing me to not make so many videos lately, is because I'm spending night after night. I've been inventing these auto racing statistical sabermetric style systems. That's one of my big hobbies. I've mentioned it many times before, but I write these long auto racing statistics columns that nobody reads on my website, Racermetrics, and my previous website, which I have linked to it, Race Database. You might, if you're a type racer old timer, you might remember racedatabase.com, because that is where the type racer database used to be located. I had it hosted on my site. I don't think I removed it even. Yeah. The Type Racer archive has moved to seanrona.com/typeracer. Oh, was that deleted? It might have been deleted, I don't remember. But anyway, that's where the Type Racer database used to be located, racedatabase.com. This is one of the main things I did in the years I became famous in typing, 2007 to 2015. I archived the entire history of Formula One, NASCAR, IndyCar back to 1979, MotoGP, 24 Hours of Le Mans, Indy 500, and a bunch of other stuff. I got bored with it because it was repetitive and all the stuff was available on other sites and it wasn't making any money enough to justify it. I said I was going to go on hiatus for 2016. I'm probably never reviving it, but I decided to do Racermetrics, this site where I did all these statistical analyses of auto racing history. And one of the things I really want to do is I want to write a. I mentioned this several times on my channel. I'm sure that I want to write a history of the ranking the top 1,000 drivers in auto racing history, and that's a book I also want to write. And I've been debating for like years whether I want to do the typing book first or the racing book first. I decided to do the typing book first because I'm more famous as a typist than I am as an auto racing historian and analyst. But now that my typing book is basically done, I have really switched hardcore into the racing stuff, and I want to work on that mainly. I'm still going to work on editing my book and finishing up all my sources. And there are a couple things I still have to write. Like, sadly, I need to change the section I wrote about Reckful. Because I wrote about Reckful in my book before he died, and I'm going to need to update that. I'm not looking forward to that. I also forgot to write about J.N. Kimball, the guy who organized the typing contests from the early 20th century. That was something I meant to include in my historical typing chapters, but I didn't. And yeah, I guess those were the two main things. Those were two things I had to add. I probably have to edit a lot down. I'd like to find a professional editor, but the thing is, professional editors are thousands of dollars, and I don't have it. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But yeah, I want to work on a racing book, and I want to make videos about auto racing. I know people are expecting typing videos from me, and I do plan to make instructional typing videos as well, but I think where my heart is now is I want to make videos about millennial culture and auto racing too. I think I'm going to try and alternate, like do a typing instructional video followed by a racing statistics video, followed by a typing history video, followed by a childhood nostalgia video, or whatever you call it. That's a wide variety of stuff I want to do, but I don't really want to compete on anything anymore. I think that era of my life has kind of passed. I've moved on from it. And I don't really want to compete in the Ultimate Typing Championship if there is another one next year. One thing I am potentially interested in doing, though, is appearing on the live stream. If they wanted me to be a color commentator alongside Nico and Taryn or whoever they picked to do that, I would be interested in doing commentary work for that. But I don't think I really want to compete anymore. It was fun a long time ago, but it hasn't been fun for me in years. Josh is inevitably going to break my text best record, as you see here, and I'm not going to fight for it back once he does. Records are made to be broken, and I figure he'll probably dominate the 2020s like I dominated the 2010s, and that's fine. So yeah, that was a lot of information for you to digest, and I know that's a lot of people had a lot of questions, and that should answer most of them for most people for a while, I guess. So, alright, I'm done, and I'm going to upload this now. Thanks if you watched all of this. Good night.